Right. And I am going live to answer some questions. So here's the deal. I have been away playing and I've got some questions that have come in since I left. Gosh, it seems like so long ago. I left on Thursday, just got back from the family wedding the wedding was in Estes Park, Colorado, and then we spent a little time in Boulder where I've been living for the last 5.5 years before coming to the Scottsdale. And so a lovely weekend, stunning photography. And some of them, for some reason, I cannot share on an Instagram account, but I'm trying to figure that out. But I need to catch up. So you have just one more day to register for Stronger One. And if you're in Stronger One, stay tuned because I'm going to talk a little bit to you first because there are some questions that you may want answered and that you didn't know to ask, first of all. So if you are in, I want you to know that you may want to get the blood flow restriction bands. You can get them a couple different places. So you can go to the blog that I wrote very recently on flipping50.com, all spelled out, all words, no spaces, and look for the recent blog about blood flow restriction or should you be doing this. There were a couple of them in there, both a podcast this last week and a blog the week before that, so that you could order two different places. So what you are going to want, though, if you're in the program, is bands that go around your thighs and bands that go around your arms. So those are two different width sizes, just because the limbs, are smaller and you don't want that much restriction of movement. So a thinner band will allow you freedom of movement, but still do the job. And that will allow you to lift lighter weights and still get a lot of progress. So it's that fool your body. Let's fool our bodies into thinking we're working harder, not need quite as much recovery time. So if you happen to, you've got a little arthritis, you're a little nervous about lifting heavy weights, you're just getting into it again, you don't want to lift all that heavy because you're nervous about joints that have been injured before and you don't want to get injured again. I know those three little words that most people after 40 sometimes, and definitely after 50, will say to their trainer is don't hurt me, because exercise is also our stress reliever. So if we can't exercise because we're hurt, it defeats the purpose. And there is also that there are things we just have to do and have to get done. And we all kind of have that mentality. I know I'm guilty of this one, that if we don't do it, I don't do it, it's not going to get done, right? Or I can just do it better and faster myself than teaching somebody else. And that's kind of problematic, but that's a whole nother story. So anyway, get the blood flow restriction bands if you don't want to go heavy or feel like right now it's not appropriate for me to go heavy. I just am starting out. So it's also a wonderful thing to have access to if you travel. Now, this past 3 days while I was gone, it would have been very appropriate for me to have those strength bands with me, although I was with my partner and he too is, a fitness advocate. So, we get along really well. We both get up really early, go to bed really early, and we seek out a gym, most days that we're there. So that's not me heavy breathing. That's Truman, by the way. You can't quite see him, but he's here. So if you are, though, in a hotel or you're can't find a gym, or they just don't have much, or you're forced to use body weight, you can put the blood flow restriction bands on, and you could fill up a couple water bottles with water and or rocks. If you were ambitious, you want to go outside and do that. You've got heavy enough things to actually get some muscle definition with those blood flow restriction bands. That's how little you actually have to lift with. So it's appropriate. It makes the Stronger program appropriate for you, even if you're feeling a little like, I don't know if that's appropriate for me. Someone has been asking, so I've got about half a dozen questions here, and I'll take any more that you want to add. Hey, Stephen and Joanna, and I will answer some questions. So as you come, if you have a question, please feel free to add it to the chat box. And I got my phone here because sometimes I can't always see the comments as they're coming in live. So I'll double check here to make sure. But one of the questions I will get asked is, I'm a total beginner. Is this appropriate for me? Or, I'm really advanced. Is this going to be enough for me? So the interesting answer that I have to this, and by no means do I intend to be condescending. I'm conscious of trying not to be at all, but we only have so many body parts, right? So we all have the same shoulders and knees and elbows and ankles and hips. And so there are only so many moves that we can do. And a beginner or someone advanced still needs to have functional movement in all the planes that someone advanced does. Someone who's a beginner or intermediate we all need the same movement. So we all need to be doing the same exercises. The determining factor for what you'll do and how do you make it, if I'm just beginning, I'm just starting or restarting, I understand how that goes. A program, you start with one set. And even though I may be demonstrating 3 sets, you'll do the first set and you'll just kind of sit the second and third out. And you might be doing some stretching during that time, or be doing some additional core exercises during that time. And that would be okay. But that's smart to, for the first week or two, do one set, see how you feel between the workouts. You will at the beginning progress faster than you would at a later date. So during those first couple of weeks of just starting from scratch, you're kind of dancing with the weights and figuring out, how do I feel while I'm doing this? How do I feel between and after? So it's the 24, 48, and 72 hours after a workout that really is the feedback that you're looking for from your muscles and from your joints. So a little feedback that says, I'm using some muscles I haven't felt for a long time. That's okay. So sore, you can't sit down and stand up without making noise, and letting somebody or everybody around you know that's a little too much. That means there's a significant tearing of the muscles. All exercises tears the muscles slightly. Micro tears happen, and then you heal between and you actually get stronger, because what happens in the body, the wisdom of the body is such that those little tears don't just get strengthened back to where they were. They get strengthened and then some. And that's how fitness actually happens. It's how what used to be your warm up, or used to be your workout is now your warm up. You overloaded and you now are stronger and you make more progress. So for a beginner or an intermediate or advanced, the Stronger program is appropriate for anyone. And I do let you know in the guidebook how to, let's start you with one set. Let's see how it goes. And that's why that live Facebook group or private Facebook group is there, so that you can ask questions in there and tag me on it and say, I did the first set, or just one set that first week. I'm feeling pretty good. Is it too soon to progress? Given, here's my status, you might tell me a little bit about you. So then I can, begin to coach you a little bit more personally, even in a group program. So just to let you know, no matter who you are, what you won't find is variety for variety's sake in the Flipping 50 programs. We don't do a lot of crazy things that are just there to keep you from getting bored, because I know some of the biggest problems and challenges we've got is time, right? And so if it takes too long, we're not going to do it. But the other one is, if we don't see results, we're not going to do it. So we need to take the most effective things that will change the metabolism, that will help build the bone, that will get you stronger without getting injured. And we put them right in the middle. It's like the bullseye. If we were just doing, okay, we're right in the center, we're here. That's what we focus on always first in the beginning of the Stronger workouts. And then when we expand it, we'll then do some extra exercises. And then if it's a little bit longer workout, we'll add some of the rest. And those are always nice to have, and they're great to have. But if you do those core exercises, when you're doing a chest press or a pull, a rowing action, a bent over row, or a standing row, you're getting major muscles in the chest and in the back, but you're also working your biceps and your triceps. As you're pushing, you work your triceps. As you're pulling, you work your biceps. So you're working 8 to 10 major muscle groups, even in 3 exercises. So it's not that they're not getting stimulation. They're just not getting isolated stimulation. But for metabolism's sake, that's a good thing. There's a science to the sequence. So it's not randomly. Have you ever done this? Walked into a gym and you just kind of start using machines, or you use where there's not a lot of people. So you'll feel more comfortable over here and you'll do that because that one's empty or open. And it feels a little precarious to walk up to somebody and say, are you done with that? Could you get off? Can we work together? Because often people are sitting there between their sets and they're doing this. Have you noticed, right? Don't be one of those people, by the way. And so, I always told my clients that if they, wanted to intimidate somebody or get on a machine faster, they should go over to the machine, stand a little closer than is comfortable that you would stand next to somebody you didn't know at a cocktail party, and cross your arms, because pretty soon they're going to ask you and get the message that you're waiting for that machine. And so, some people get it sooner than others, but randomly doing exercises like that is really not a great fitness plan, right? Would you agree with that? That if you want specific results, you should probably have a very specific program. So all the protocols in the 12 Stronger workouts are designed based on a scientific research study where women in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause were the subjects. So it's not random 22-year-old male athletes in college were the subjects, because that kind of information doesn't always transfer. Much of the time, it may not transfer to a woman who's in midlife, going through a lot of hormone changes, many more than men ever go through, but definitely than a man who's 22 is going through. We have a different body composition, we have a different metabolism, and different socialization, and that matters too. How we think about exercise or strength training makes a difference. And we know that women over 50 think about it slightly differently than now a young woman who's 20 or even who's 30 will. And that's a good thing. And we can help impose or impact their thought process then too. But kind of circling back to beginner, intermediate, advanced, the exercises are really the same. And intermediate and advanced, we don't have any lesser priorities if time is one of your key things. Now, if you have hours to spend in the gym and you want to, and your hormones are balanced, more power to you. But most of the women that Flipping 50 serves have some hormone imbalance. They have weight loss resistance. They potentially are not sleeping. They've got some up and down, some PMS still happening, some not, maybe phantom PMS still happening. And that calls for a very specific kind of exercise, less of it, but more right than just random. So random acts of fitness get random results, meaning they'll hit and they'll miss. And what happens when we don't get results? We quit. So my goal, my mission is to keep you from quitting by giving you the most results with the least amount of effort. That's always been the mission at Flipping 50. So is it for newbies? Is it for advanced? Yes and yes. And, if you're looking for a ton of variety and a ton of toys and props, you won't find it here, because I'm kind of about to, let's get business. Let's get down to business. Let's get you some results. Let's get you out of the exercise and into your life, feeling good and looking good and having energy and getting some sleep, having appropriate appetite, not crazy cravings. So there's that answer. I also want to address this question. If you're watching, there are a lot of programs, probably 90 or 95% of programs all address weight loss and the benefits of exercise on weight loss, even the benefits of strength training on weight loss, or specifically fat loss. And I know some of you out there need to gain lean muscle or potentially gain some weight. So we are not leaving you out. Early on, we did a Flipping 50 TV episode about that very thing, because if you are what bodybuilders would call a hard gainer, it's hard for you to gain lean muscle or to gain weight overall. And for a lot of women who are going through perimenopause or menopause, or they're in postmenopause, gaining lean muscle is harder because of a lack of testosterone. And unfortunately, what we do is we tend to chase the wrong thing. We tend to exercise more, which is decreasing your testosterone level even more, making it more true that you won't be able to gain muscle. So, again, back to the programming and how it's designed. It's designed to, I use this, and I don't want anybody to get scared by high intensity exercise, but hit it and quit it. It is high intensity if you reach fatigue or during intervals you get breathless. There's no cardio in this program, but we do talk about it, and I tell you how to incorporate it and how to track it so that you could work your intervals in, you could work long, slow in, and have it benefit the strength training that you're doing. And certainly that's going to help with decreasing weight and accelerating fat loss. But for those of you that are hard gainers, you need to gain a little strength, you need to gain a little muscle, or definitely keep it, stop the losses. The protocols are really very similar. The biggest difference for you is going to be diet. You need to make sure much more carefully that you're getting adequate calories a little bit more. You need to make sure you're getting adequate protein a little bit more, maybe a pre-exercise and a post-exercise high protein snack or smoothie or drink or meal if it's not that time. And your 3 meals throughout the day have to have adequate protein. So those building blocks of muscle are protein, and you've got to be really smart about doing and paying proper attention. And the guide will also help you with that. And that's what I'm for in the private Facebook group, is to help you get very specific. Hi from Rome. Wow, that's pretty cool. I would say you get like the prize for being the furthest one away. Okay. So need to gain muscle. I'm new to the program. The fourth one was I'm 65. Is this appropriate for me? And so my answer to that is it's really not age-based. And I'm hoping that we can start throwing that one away and realizing that it's always ability. It's not about your age. It's about your ability. So if you were to tell me I've got something else going on, and I know someone is asking here about lupus. So Joanna, I'm seeing you. I'm coming back. So hang on. But tell me about a condition that you've got, because that could have been true at 65 or at 35, and the answer may be very similar. But 65 doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't want it to mean anything to you either. So let me tell you who I am. So I'm a Midwestern girl, not a farmer's daughter, but a pioneer hybrid seed corn manager's daughter. So as close to being in the cornfields as you can be. And, people age differently and think about age and accept age differently in the middle of the Midwest. And it's a little bit more brutal. And there are still a lot of farmers there, although there's a lot of everything else. And then I moved to Boulder, Colorado. Very different environment, right? People retire to Boulder, Colorado to be active, to start doing triathlons, to start maybe doing their first Ironman. Now, smaller slice of the pie doing that, right? But it opens up possibilities for all of us. In your head, it should open up the possibility that anything is possible if first you believe that it's possible. And of course, you've got to put the work in and do it and train yourself and eat properly and sleep well. But you're not limited by your age. You're limited by how you're thinking about your age. So I'm hoping that sinks in with you. And strength training is such a great start because you can actually regenerate. You can get stronger. We know we actually can turn back the clock. We can reverse aging. You have small little cells called mitochondria in your body, and they are basically your energy production central in your body. We slow in production of mitochondria and that regeneration as we age. But that's if we do nothing else, if we just accept that aging is aging and that's it. Bye muscle, goodbye energy, and all those things. And it's just not true. So within about the last 10 years, it was probably 8 to 10 years ago, studies started coming out showing that people who either did cardio or other studies that looked at strength training showed that 70-year-old men could be the equivalent of fit as a 20-year-old doing the same kind of workouts as long as the training regimen was very specific and that their nutrition was adequate. So you can reverse aging, get that mitochondria back. So if right now you're getting breathless when you go upstairs, that may be mitochondria, not anything else. And you can get it back, and strength training will help. So it has nothing to do with age. So make sure that you're asking about special conditions, because I can address that a whole lot better. And so special conditions I have gotten asked about, and then I'm going to hit your question, Joanna, is plantar fasciitis. So I've got plantar fasciitis. Am I going to be able to do this one? So with plantar fasciitis, for those of you that don't know, it's kind of, if this were the bottom of my foot, the plantar muscles in the bottom of your foot get rigid and tight and stiff. And there are a lot of causes potentially, but it is very much known now in the last 3 to 5 years to be tied to hormones. During hormonal changes, even women going through pregnancy, but then women in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause have a significant greater number of plantar fasciitis. So hormones, we've got to pay attention to them. And too much too soon can often be it. Starting to do a lot of hill running, running up, running down, wearing a lot of high heels doesn't help you. Wearing flip-flops, throw the flip-flops away. Shoes without a back on them, mules or flip-flops, those kinds of shoes are not good for you to be wearing at all. And if you do have plantar fasciitis, you talk to a doctor, you've probably been diagnosed, and you're doing what they recommend. So lots of towel exercises, gathering towels with your toes to strengthen those muscles. When it's appropriate, heel raises, standing on one leg with a heel raise, or 2 legs with a heel raise. You can put your fingertips on the counter for balance, and lots of other things that you can be doing. And I won't go too deep into that right now. But the things that are really going to limit you, the only one would be probably rear lunges. And there's always an if this, then that I can give you. So it's kind of a key that if you tell me I can't do this movement because it really bothers me, and it might bother your right knee, or it might be the foot. But if rear lunges are the only limiter, then I would say the program is still pretty viable for you. And what we would do is probably have you do side lunges, because when you do the side lunge, both feet are flat. You don't have to do a big push this way. So any trouble with your Achilles, we can eliminate that by giving you an alternative move. I have some people who can't do squats or lunges simply because their knees are just, there's not much cartilage at all there, and they can't do it. So we have them substitute getting down on the floor and doing a bridge or a hamstring curl. So we're still using the same muscle groups, but we're doing it in a way that's not stressful to the joints. So again, the reason for the Facebook page, so that I can give you those moves and give you a quick, excuse me, a video clip so that you know what I mean when we're talking about that. And 9 times out of 10 you will, because it's already built into the program. Okay, Joanna, I'm going to answer your question here. So I have lupus, so I need a good tip for exercise that would be good for this condition. So yeah, so kind of you go through periods of flares where things are worse and things are better. So starting out very slowly, starting slower than someone else might, starting with an activity that you enjoy. But almost everyone probably is going to benefit from doing strength training. And with an autoimmune disease like lupus, even more so. But I would definitely start with really light weights. So do that, and combine that, if you can, with walking, not necessarily long walks, but just frequent shorter walks. So you're looking to kind of gain strength with doing lighter weight. Using the strength bands would be very appropriate for you to start that, so that you can be lifting 2 and 3 pounds with your upper body, using your own body weight with your lower body, and just gradually gaining strength. So great question. How long should you start out? 20 minutes or 30 minutes? Well, it really depends a little bit on what you're talking about. So if you're talking about strength training, it's better to say how many exercises should I do and about how long will that take. So for beginning with lupus, you could do one of two things. So if you're doing this on your own, I would suggest do 3 exercises, a big exercise for the chest, for the back, and for the lower body. Do them in a cycle 3 times. So you're going to do that upper body, chest, and back, and then lower body, and then repeat them again and repeat them again, and then stretch and be done. And so that's about 10 minutes just to start. It's just to say, okay, I'm going to start moving these muscles. I'm going to see how I feel. Check on your soreness. You ideally want to back off and not be too sore. You're just going to focus on really, really good form. So in the Stronger program, I'm conscious in always over cueing. So I want to give you the answer to the question before you know to ask the question. Great, you were a UPS driver for years. Interesting. Yes, absolutely. So interesting that as I was like in grad school working at a fitness center, we would have the UPS drivers come in and go through testing because I think they had a corporate membership with our club. And yet they were always in really good shape. I don't know if they still do this or this is how it goes, but you're booking it. You're lifting boxes. You're booking it from the truck to the door and booking it back. They were always in excellent shape, even though they claimed they didn't work out. They were working out all day, every day. So it all counts. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Wanda says, I have sprained my ankle recently and I'm not able to sign up. Are you repeating this class after the holidays? Can I do this program anyway? I would think you can probably want to do this program anyway. The only thing that you're going to be limited on really is going to be lunges right now. So squats, you're going to have weight bearing on both legs. And, usually a sprained ankle should be better in a couple of weeks. So swelling down, you're elevating it, you're icing it, and you're probably moving around on it anyway. So doing squats should be okay. Lying on the floor to do bridges and hamstring curls, and you've got all that upper body work that you wouldn't have to pass up. So I would encourage you to sign up now. I hate to have somebody say, I'm going to wait, 3 months to do something, but we will offer it again in January. But yeah, I'm the last one to say, let's wait because, life gets in the way. It'll never be convenient then either. But, if you run into obstacles and there are things that, it's not healing as well, or you need a second voice coming in to say, what should I be asking my physical therapist, or what should I be asking or doing? Happy to help you with that. Patrick says, I'm a beginner. I use 10-pound dumbbells. Am I doing the right thing? I can't answer that question, Patrick, because it's all about how heavy is it for you and how many repetitions do you do to fatigue. So for a beginner, you want to fatigue at somewhere between 20 and 25 repetitions, a little bit more than someone who's advanced and really going for strength and power will do. So the weight doesn't mean anything to me or anybody here. So don't compare yourself by what somebody else can lift. Compare yourself to, am I reaching fatigue at the end of this set? Okay, just scrolling through questions. How am I eating healthy fruits? Stephen Livings. Stephen, if you want to add something else to that, I'm not really understanding your question. So I'm going to let you elaborate on that and I'll see if I can answer. One says, I have hypothyroidism and I have low energy levels. Gotcha. Okay. So strength training would be probably one of the first things that I would ever have you do as far as exercise goes, Wanda. Generally, in looking at hypothyroidism, it's one of the first things that helps to build you back up. Same with someone who's got adrenal fatigue. We don't want to push you over the edge. We don't want you to be doing so much that you could take a nap at the end of that workout, but we want you to do small little bits on a regular basis. So getting started really important. And you would be one person that I might say to you, let's do one set for the first week, both of those workouts. See how you feel, see how you do, and then let's potentially do 2 sets the next week and keep it with lighter weights. Let's get you just started. So it's just one foot in front of the other, and then listen to the feedback because it's really a dance. Your body will tell you, right? It will tell you what's going on by how well am I sleeping? You know, how's my brain fog? Do I have more energy or less energy? Because we've got to keep in perspective. It's not exercise for exercise sake, right? We're doing the exercise so we get better at life. So good to remember that. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and just take a peek at my phone. If anybody else has a question, please let me know. And I will try and answer that before I hop off. I will put the link to register for Stronger here down below the post just as I leave. And if you aren't aware, the last opportunity to register is tomorrow. So tomorrow at midnight Mountain Time. So I'm still living like I'm a Boulder girl, and just came back from there. So I left there today, spent about a day and a half there. So scrolling through, and Wanda says yes. Okay, signing up. Good. As long as I can modify it, I will be able to do it. That is great. Okay. Karen says, I sent a message saying I haven't filled out my forms, but I did send them to you and previously said I received them. Huh. Okay. Karen, sorry about that. Can you respond to support? Just respond to that email, and support will know then that potentially something is misfiring to you. So there may be a reason that we need to check into something. I would so appreciate that. Thank you. Wanda says I've sprained my ankle. Okay, we've got that one. All right. I think we've got them all. So thank you so much, everybody. I will put the link. I would love to see you in the Stronger program. So what blows me away is just thinking when you're done, it'll be Christmas, right? I mean, it'll be New Year. And what a great way to start, I think. And second, what a great way to have a program to keep you on track during the holidays. You know, it's not a crazy amount of time consumption that we're talking about, but when you have that one thing that you're doing that kind of is like your anchor to, I'm doing these 2 strength training workouts, you've done something that says, you know, I feel successful when I do my workouts, you know, or I feel healthy or I feel fit when I do these 2 workouts. And you know, when you do that, we tend to all make another good decision. Maybe it's that I'm going to eat better because I'm doing my strength training, you know, and or I'm doing all this hard work, so I'm going to make sure that I get my protein in at every meal. Or I'm going to make sure I get a good night's sleep because I want to see good results from what I'm doing. You know, every little one small thing that you do owns another. And so getting through the holidays won't be such a big deal. The holidays, Thanksgiving will actually be just a week with a big meal, you know, and a lot of decorating going on. And it won't be as difficult as sometimes it can be when we think of it just as this big. The holidays are coming, right? So jump in if you need a little guidance. Thanks for being here. Hey, Brenda, is the Stronger program going to? Yes. So I think you might be jumping in late, but you want to get some bands if you haven't already gotten them. And if you want to go lighter on your weight training, absolutely. You're going to want to do, have the bands so that you can use them and get started with them right away or as soon as you get them. So you know that anything ordered from Amazon.com is here potentially tomorrow. So need we say more? But yes, I will be jumping into the Facebook group and talking about that with all of you as we get rolling. So, okay. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much for being here, and look forward to seeing you inside Stronger if now is the time.